It is a very large storm, geographically large, and again, we're watching this continue to pull north. But we could take you to Portsmouth in New Hampshire here as we're dealing with what will become the western edge of the storm's impact zone. And these leaves are going to be blowing around out there with some heavy rain in due time, especially Saturday morning through midday Saturday. And overall, when we take a look at this latest storm stats for Hurricane Lee, these are the 8 p.m. Eastern numbers. Again, the deep convection, it's beginning to transform into a system that is gradually going to become more of a cold core storm, almost more like a nor'easter. It's not fully there yet. It's still a tropical system. It's a hurricane, but you can see that the deep convection is well removed from the center of the storm there. You can see that's kind of a change there. There is still some deep convection near the heart of the storm, though. As this accelerates northward, we're going to begin to see this really press on the pedal on the right there, as they say, the accelerator, as this moves north rapidly. And we'll lose some wind energy, but the size of the wind field will begin to gradually expand even more. We do expect to see landfall probably between extreme eastern Maine and more likely into Nova Scotia or perhaps New Brunswick between the hours of probably 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. on Saturday evening. So we are very confident in landfall in that area. Dangerous rip currents will remain a big problem for the East Coast, even under a blue sky at times farther to the west. And the rain, the wind, and the storm surge will all be problems. We could see some destructive coastal flooding as well. So let's watch this play out here with future radar for the northeast. And you can see the center of the storm moving to the northwest and really jogging in just a bit. In fact, this is going to be really close to a main landfall if it's not into New Brunswick. And again, this depiction takes it right into New Brunswick there. But regardless, most of the rain is going to come on Saturday into New England. In advance of that, tonight through Friday, strong onshore winds are going to be leading to beach erosion and coastal flooding during high tide for the mid-Atlantic coast and up into places like, southern New England and also places like the Long Island Sound, especially the south-facing side of Long Island on the Atlantic side. But you can see now tropical storm warnings are in effect from Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket all the way up into southeastern Maine. And there's also a hurricane watch in effect from Bar Harbor to the international border for the coastal communities. We're most concerned, if we had to list one thing in the U.S. that we're most concerned about, it probably would be storm surge flooding, even removed from Maine. We're looking at Massachusetts here in these concave chunks of coastline. Areas around the Cape Cod Bay are going to be very problematic. We're really concerned about how the ocean water is going to get shoved into that concave chunk of the coastline. And you can see that we're dealing with a 3 to 6 foot storm surge in that area. Much of the coastline of, say, Nova Scotia and parts of Maine, very rocky. It's not as rocky there in parts of the Cape Cod Bay area. Again, it varies quite a bit, but that's going to be a concern. We're also looking at some gusty winds, and near the coastline of down east coastal Maine, we can see gusts of wind right around 60 plus miles per hour, but that'll be more of an issue farther east. You can see a zoomed in view. We're looking at 40 to 60 mile per hour gusts into Boston and especially into Cape Cod, and also 4 to 8 inches of rain there into southeast parts of Maine. So overall, this storm is going to be a really dangerous one, and it'll have an AccuWeather real impact scale rating of 1 in both Canada and the U.S., kind of parallel to a Category 1 hurricane.